Hey, what's up guys? Chris VA Travels. As you see here in Stafford County, about to visit the Stafford Civil War Park, the Union Army's Valley Forge, and campsite of the 11th Corps, 1st and 3rd Division. And there's gonna be a lot to look at. Of course, they're gonna have a mock-up of the actual campsite. We've got a couple batteries set up. And yeah, we're gonna be walking down an old corduroy road, so should be cool. And if you come to visit, here are the hours. Pretty easy to remember, 8 until 8. Okay, all right, made it. Stop 1, Union Infantry Winter Camp. And I only had to drive less than half a mile from the entrance to get here. But yeah, stop 1 is the Orientation Winter Camp. And overview, yeah, 5 stops. Stop 1, yeah, Winter Camp. But okay, we're gonna have 3 batteries, a quarry, that corduroy road, and the Daniel Bridge to look at. Over 135,000 Union Army of the Potomac soldiers established their winter camps throughout Stafford, making the ratio 15-1 between soldiers and Stafford citizens. And this was a really low point for the Union Army. They were just decisively defeated at Fredericksburg. Morale was low. And then there was the unsuccessful Mud March on January 25th. And then January 26th, Lincoln sacked Burnside. And Joseph Hooker took over command. And he really improved morale, improved the conditions of the camp, began training the soldiers, and geared up and went out to Chancellorsville, where they lost again, but remained camped here, and then eventually went up to Gettysburg. Obviously won that battle, and that was the turning point of the Civil War. And all right, let me check out this kind of little log cabin here. Log tent. A lot of the information I just went over. But back here, we're gonna have a trail that is going to contain the remains of hut sites, chimneys, and defenses. Also, 3,500 soldiers died while encamped out here. I don't know how well you can see, but yeah, the fireplace, it's kind of just a small hole on the bottom of the wall. I guess you just shove logs back in there. The heat penetrated through the logs on the other side. Kind of interesting. But yeah, you can imagine thousands of these, right? 135,000 soldiers all throughout Stafford. And yeah, interesting setup with the chimney. And you could imagine they spent a lot of time inside the tent through January and February. But all right, let me walk some of this trail. All right, so they've got little signs here. Remains of the hut sites. I can't quite make those out back there. Yeah, we've got another plaque right here giving us some more information. But I see an indentation in the ground. Okay. Yeah, if you were a metal detector, you could probably have a field day out here, although I don't think you're allowed to probably and I'm sure it's all been kind of picked over, but okay. All right, so plaque here, a Union Army winter camp remains. But again, 11th Corps camped out here. It contained a lot of German soldiers who barely spoke English. And they were led by General O.O. Howard, one of the founders and the namesake of Howard University up in DC. During the Battle of Fredericksburg, I can tell you he stayed at the Douglas Gordon House off Princess Anne Street. I did a video on Princess Anne Street if you want to check it out. It shows off his, the house where he stayed. Letter written by Sergeant Wilhelm Frankson, or Frankson, German, I guess, 26 Wisconsin Infantry Volunteers. Letter written to his father talking about the hardships. Marched 13 miles in 2 days. And talking about marching through the snow. They would have to cut down trees, drag them through the woods to build these log huts. They use remains of outbuildings of the local farms. Just old fences. Yeah, whatever they could find and gather. So another hut site, and why are these round and not that big? Obviously a tent wouldn't have fit in there. So do they use that for garbage or latrine or something? Okay, so right here it says above ground hut or tent site. So maybe parts of the hut did go into the ground. Yeah, all right. And when you're walking the trail, I just walked over some rocks, some jagged rocks, and you see their little logs and roots. So I guess just watch your step if you're out here. But I saw a lady go by jogging and she turned around, so I don't think this goes back too far. Yeah, over here, another above ground hut or tent site location. And you can see a little bit of an indentation right there. Likely chimney or firebox remains. Yeah, so they had something right here. And this would be a great site for a battery on this ridge. And again, I hear running water. Arrows telling me to go right, but I'm gonna walk down here a little ways to see if I can see the creek or whatever is flowing down there. Yeah, all right, so here we go. Pretty decent sized creek. Yeah, as you see, it rained last night, so roots are a little slippery. Cool. Yeah, cool spot just to come chill, really. Trail follows the creek, but I'm not going to go down it. I'm going to go back up and follow the trail, follow the arrow back on the top of the hill. But yeah, we're not too far from Government Island, big sandstone quarry, where a lot of the sandstone, most of the sandstone was used in almost all the colonial houses in the area. It was used in the White House, the Capitol, US Capitol building. Okay, made it back up here. As you hear, I'm a little bit winded. Not too bad, but all right, see what's over here. I see another pit and Civil War rifle pit. Okay, so good defensive position again on the ridge here. And a rifle pit is a little bit different than a just normal trench. They're just kind of shorter. I guess you just had a handful of men in them. Yeah, let me follow this loop. And here, oh, likely a chimney. Okay, you see a little mound and probably some bricks and stones in there. Chimney or firebox remains. I'm not going to walk on them. You hear the train in the distance, the RFMP. Oh, all right, so I thought we were done with the stop, but it says rifle pits, camp rifle pits are back this way, and I see a little bridge. Let me just walk back here. But to tell you, part of the reason the 11th Corps were in this area was because of that threat where they thought Robert E. Lee might try to attack or capture a quiet landing. Because the 11th Corps, they were originally closer to the Stafford Courthouse, also near Belle Plaine. And Joseph Hooker had noticed a gap in the lines where the Confederates could approach from the west. Yeah, so he moved. This bridge is one of the boards. I felt like I was about to, my foot was, yeah, see, right here. Yeah, one of the boards is kind of loose, but yeah, that gap coming from the west where the Confederates could approach, so they moved the 11th Corps here to block that and to better defend a quiet landing. I guess I don't need to show off every one of these hut sites, but this one is partially dug into the ground. Yeah, so some of the huts, they were trying to take advantage of the Earth's insulation, I guess. So yeah, some of the huts were partially dug into the ground. And I imagine this is probably above ground hut or tent location. So yeah, they're scattered all throughout. I think this is going to be it right here. This looks like maybe probably another rifle pit, just kind of short with a high mound in the front. Yeah, all right, so Civil War rifle pit, defensive position. Probably had some German soldiers lined up behind this thing. But okay, all right, so I think that's gonna wrap it up for stop one. So all right, as you see to the right, stops 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so made it to stop 2. Stop 1 is right in front of us, so yeah, not far at all. And I had read online that these stops were hard to find or hard to get to, which I don't understand. That stop 1 was only half a mile from the main entrance, and these other stops are pretty well marked. But all right, so the Potomac Church Road. Potomac Church goes back to the 1600s. I had read 1660 online. During the late 18th centuries and well into the 19th century, this road and the old Telegraph Road, which is Route 1, were the primary travel routes. So I'm guessing this Potomac Church Road kind of led from the Quiet Harbor to Route 1, or what was the Telegraph Road. And in 63, the Union Army corduroyed sections of the road to facilitate troops and artillery movement and to help protect and supply Union Army encampments. All right, so, and then the trail at the west end of the parking lot leads to a Union battery and sections of the original road, and then a pre-war bridge. So am I supposed to be driving down there? But where I parked, there was a big stop 2 sign. You can tell this was gravelled over one time. I don't know, but I'm gonna poke my head around here, see if there's anything to look at. Okay, so another sign up here, one of those little small white signs to the right, and I see a plaque, way marker to the left. And so was this part of that Potomac Church Road? Okay, yeah, so the Daniel Bridge is straight ahead. I'll walk down there. Union batteries at Accokeek Creek. All right, so by late May 63, Hooker likely concentrated over a possible, likely concerned over a possible, okay, that's what I talked about earlier, to cut off and capture his supply depot at Aquia Landing. Adjusted his lines, 4 additional batteries were built in the 11th Corps area south of the Accokeek. This battery had 2 gun shelves for artillery, 216 linear feet of parapet, and 56-foot long zigzag trench and a blockhouse. The fortification was ideally positioned to repel Confederate forces should it attack the 11th Corps via the Potomac Church Road or bridge to the north. Oh, all right, so there's a lot over here. Okay, so I think this is going to be the blockhouse, probably, this giant hole. I don't know what else it would be. And here are the batteries, 3 out of New York and 2 out of Ohio. The basic 13-inch ordnance rifle. 11th Corps ordnance. This is what they were firing off. 3-inch Hotchkiss shell. 12-pound cannonball, K-shot. And 12-pound solid shot right here. All right, so 10-pound Parrott explosive. 3-inch Schenkel shell. And yeah, canister shot, 12-pound Napoleon. This is similar to what it would have looked like. A photo was taken near Atlanta of battery constructed with parapet and gun shells similar to those found in Battery 1. All right, so Yeah. Oh, this is the blockhouse. All right. Civil War blockhouse right here. These aren't original guns. I believe only the National Park Service can have the real cannons. But you see, yeah, made to look authentic though. It says 1861 on there. But retaining wall right here. Obviously this is going to be identical to the one we just looked at. Steuben Cannons, Ashland, Kentucky. It says 2013, I think, at the bottom. And that's when this park opened up, 2013. So you can walk this trail on the other side here, and I just want to see what this sign says. And there's a little bit more written on this one. Walking the front side of this fortification is permitted as long as visitors walk in the ditch. Okay. Well, I guess you can walk over here. I'm walking right through spider webs, but I don't think I need to walk through this. Thick pile of wet leaves. But yeah, wraps you around the fortification. All right, well, that was the remains of the blockhouse. And let me walk down this corduroy road and take a look at what's left of this bridge. Well, I imagine I can hear the creek down there, so yeah, crossing that creek. And I just put up some new merchandise, and there's going to be more coming. Check the merch shelf below the video. And I'm gonna have some more Civil War related stuff here coming up eventually. So, oh yeah, and this gets a little muddy, just to forewarn. But again, it rained really hard last night. Another bench down here. And yeah, so I guess this was the corduroy road. So you would have had logs underneath here. "2014 Eagle Project." Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, the creek's getting louder. And yeah, Civil War corduroy road. I'm not even sure if I had ever heard of a corduroy road. I probably have. But yeah, again, as far as I know, it's similar to a plank road, laid logs across, but I think they were made more for these encampments and whatnot to whatever, carry heavier guns and whatever else. Okay, so the mighty Daniel Bridge is just ahead. And a little spot to sit, listen to the creek. Okay, yeah, well, it looks like it's no more. But all right, Daniel Bridge first appeared in county records on a deed map dated 1837. The bridge had 3 sandstone piers, and the remnants of which are still visible today. Yeah, so you see a ton of sandstone in the area. They likely supported a wood superstructure. The bridge likely took its name from Peter V. Daniel, who died before the Civil War, who along with his wife Lucy owned land south of the Accokeek Creek. Daniel was admitted to, so he was a lawyer, 1808, admitted to the bar. In 1818, he was elected president of the Council of State and served as lieutenant governor. He served on the U.S. Supreme Court from 1841 until his death in 1860. Okay, so obviously the bridge shot across right there. Walk down here. All right, so you see that's pretty muddy and slippery and watch out for spider webs. Haven't hit any so far. Oh, all right, so let me try not to slip on this. Okay, all right. Cool. All right, let me get back to where I was. I bet you could find some Native American objects because they always had their little villages and huts and whatnot right by these creeks and rivers. Okay. All right. So, walk down here. Oh yeah, all right, so sandstone platform right here. And it must have been a pretty sturdy bridge if the corduroy road went across, cannons and whatnot went across. Okay, head on back up the corduroy road. And I'm glad I made it out here. I live in Fredericksburg, only 6-7 miles away. And yeah, first time coming to the park, so glad I'm getting to knock it out. Oh, and I'll tell you, the park sits on 41 acres. And speaking of Native Americans, this was the site of the Patawomac tribe. They inhabited this area. And you can visit their little mock-up of their village and their museum here in Stafford. It's off Route 3, the Kings Highway. Just a little past Ferry Farm if you're on Route 3 headed east. So cool place to check out. Finished up with stop 2, and we're under these power lines, and you can hear them buzzing a little bit. I don't know if you can hear that. Stop number 3, quarry and picnic area. Yeah, so a little pavilion back there, pretty nice. You've got bathrooms. All right, and okay, so this stop is going to be the Sandstone quarry. And on the trail to the right of the picnic area, beyond the sign, are the remains of a late 18th century and early 19th century, I told you, sandstone quarry. Sandstone all around this area. Quarrying operations have been key to Stafford County growth since the 1700s. And shout out to Vulcan Mineral Company. They donated nearly 6,000 tons of Stafford stone and gravel to the park's construction. So that's pretty cool. Oh, and if you come out here, put on bug spray. Luckily, I had brought some. Well, what is this? Okay, so behind us is going to be the Trimmer and Newton Pavilion. And the pavilion honors Colonel Glenn Trimmer and Mr. D.P. Newton. Wow, 2 men who desired a park to honor the thousands of Union soldiers that encamped throughout Stafford during the winter of '63. All right, so pretty cool. There they are, Mr. Trimmer and Mr. Newton. In a nice soft path leading you up to the picnic area. Oh, okay, so these rocks are from Buzzard's Roost, which was a couple miles from here. And yeah, bedrock that stood about 200 feet above sea level. And some Union soldiers on picket had carved their names into them. Here you go right here. Okay, yeah, I do see a couple on this one. Sandstone really fades, so. Okay, you can see the chisel marks on that one. All right, so here's Buzzard's Roost, pre-removal. Pickets here, similar to those who carved their inscriptions. So identified inscriptions. Okay, all these privates right here. New York infantry, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maine. Oh, a lot on this one. PV private, HBC I see. Oh, and what is this? EN at the top. 22 Massachusetts, Meredith. Yeah, he carved his name in there deep. And second private, it looks like, down there at the bottom. Just telling you how the stones were taken out of the quarry. I've got a video on the government island, like I say, that's not too far from here. And it goes more detailed through all this. And they actually have an actual wall right here that they were quarrying. some of the tools they used. And you've got this hoist here on the right. All right, so they drill a hole to split the rock into sections. And this groove was used to separate the large rock sections. And this triangle-shaped feature, I don't know if that's like a wedge or something, but possibly related to lifting or splitting the stone. Wow. I'm not going to walk down there, but some stone right there. Oh, and you can see there's kind of a little groove. I don't know if that's man-made or... All right, so kind of a smaller stop. But I'll tell you, at the beginning of the war, Confederates held this area, held it up until the Peninsula Campaign. Near here is the site of one of the first battles of the war, the small Battle of Aquia Creek, involving the 30th Virginia, which were soldiers from the Fredericksburg area. And Confederates had set up batteries along the Potomac to disrupt Union ships going back and forth to DC. Also to protect Aquia Landing. It's where the RFP terminated the rail line. It ran from Richmond to Aquia. Aquia, you would get off, you would hop on a ferry, take that up to DC. But yeah, nothing much occurred. It happened May 29th through June 1st. Pretty much Confederate batteries fired on some Union vessels. It didn't really inflict much damage. Vessels fired back. They weren't able to dislodge the batteries, but anyway, I do need to look to see if it's a place to visit. So yeah, might see a little video on that sometime. All right, stop number 4, Union Battery. And this one 200 feet above sea level, highest of the 3 batteries. I'll let you pause and read. But estimated to have held 4 to 5 rifled guns. Yeah, more cannons back here, and I can already tell, wow, this is a great spot. But what is this? Oh, you can walk the front of the fortifications. All right, I know I'll be eating some spider webs if I go down there. Oh, and what is this? Oh, it just says do not climb on the fortifications. Wow, again, good spot. And no real thick trees. Obviously, all these have grown after 1863. But I think we have a trail, maybe going back this way. This might just be walking around the front of the entrenchment, and you can see how high up we are. But yeah, this just wraps around other side of the fortification. I don't think this is an official trail right here. I don't think I need to walk down that. Probably just takes you down the hill. I haven't seen any signs or arrows telling you to go that way. But all right, I guess I'll just loop around and head on to stop number 5. Battery Heights Road and General Howard Avenue, named after General O.O. Howard. And we're headed off to stop number 5. Stops 3 and 4 were kind of quickies, but it looks like there's a little bit more to this one. The 11th Corps Road. February 15th of 63, Major General Joseph Hooker directed that the road passing about 1 mile to the west of Brooks's Station and leading to Stafford Courthouse be put in condition to be practicable for artillery at all times. Yeah, corduroying it as necessary with a material of sufficient length to form a double-track roadway. A large segment of that road, built by Union 11th Corps soldiers and engineers, can be seen behind the sign. Nearly 150 years later, the Virginia Army National Guard's 276th Engineer Battalion and Virginia Air National Guard's 203rd Red Horse Squadron built and paved the park's roads. Okay, information for you, but yeah, double track corduroy road. And here they are. Yeah, like I say, like a kind of a plank road. Interesting. Yeah, shout out to these guys who built the road. Again, a lot of information right here. You can pause and read, but just going through the construction of the corduroy road. And check this out. As to the time required to make the proposed road, I'm of the opinion, judging from my experience in making roads with soldiers since the war commenced, that we may safely say that each man can make 15 inches of road per day. What? Okay, all right, so some pretty hard work, obviously. Let me just walk back here a little ways. And there's more to see behind me. Yeah, kind of wish I had worn my trail pants. I don't see anything poisonous, but still. All right, so I guess this was the corduroy road. Seeing kind of a ditch right here, I guess, along what would have been the side. Yeah, a ditch on this side as well. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, made of logs, so obviously it's long since disintegrated. I don't think I need to walk down there. I haven't seen any signs so far, and I've walked a little ways. But yeah, corduroy road would have gone all the way to the Stafford courthouse. Yeah, like I say, we're gonna have more over here, the actual battery, but another little picnic area. Like I say, they've got trash receptacles at all of these. The largest and strongest battery, okay. This one contained nearly 300 linear feet of parapet, 30 feet thick. All right. Oh, also contained a block house. Okay, all right, so yeah, German Americans, like I say, the 11th Corps. Okay, so some Germans in here. Steinwehr, Schultz. Exclusively German regiments. Illinois. I know people hate when I say Illinois, but Illinois, why do you put an S on it? But in Wisconsin. Oh yeah, so here are some of that 82nd Illinois Infantry. Those guys are ready to go. Hit the pause button and read. Yeah, talking about the German American soldiers. The less talked about and studied ethnic group. Most historians are focused on the Irish and African American soldiers, but they outnumbered the Irish 2-1. And they had the largest numbers in proportion to their population of any ethnic group. And then also talking about Chancellorsville, as I was saying, they were on the end of the line when Stonewall Jackson flanked them. This must be the blockhouse over here. Big hole in the ground. Yeah. Several more cannons. Oh, there's the sign for it. Civil War blockhouse. Look from a different angle. Crazy mound of fungi over here. And what is this supposed to be? Sitting off on the side of the trail. It's not marked. So, yeah, somebody just built it. I don't know if people were camping out here or, but yeah. Built this also. Are y'all gonna hit the road? And great site. Good place to visit if you're from out of town, coming to check out the Fredericksburg battlefield. We're about 6.5 miles from Chatham Manor. And I maybe plan on about an hour and a half if you want to soak all this in. But yeah, I'm gonna hit the road as always, guys. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.